Welcome to San Academy Pallikaranai, Class 7 Social Science. Happy day students, we're going to start a new chapter from History, chapter number 5. Name of the chapter is Rulers and Buildings. This is part 1 video. Topics to be covered: closer look on Qutub Minar, engineering skills and construction, temple construction in the early 11th century, building temples, mosques and tanks. A closer look on Qutub Minar. The Qutub Minar is 5 stories high. The band of inscriptions you see under its first balcony. The first floor was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak and the rest by Iltutmish around 1229. Over the years, it was damaged by lightning and earthquakes and repaired by Alauddin Khalji, Muhammad Tughlaq, Firuz Shah Tughlaq and Ibrahim Lodi. Structures built between 8th and 18th centuries by kings and their officers. It is of two kinds. The first were forts, palaces, garden residences and tombs to make them feel safe, protected and grandiose places of rest in this world, and the next is the second structures meant for public activity, which includes temples, mosques, tanks, wells, caravanserais and bazaars. Kings were expected to take care for their subjects, and by making structures for their use and comfort, rulers hoped to win their praise. Construction activity was also carried out by others, including merchants. They built temples, mosques and wells. However, domestic architecture, large mansions, havelis of merchants has survived only from the 18th century. Engineering skills and construction. 7th to 10th century, a style of architecture called Trabit or Corbel excelled. 18th to 13th century, Trabit style construction, temples, mosques, tombs and in-buildings attached to large stepped wells, baolis, were prominent. Two technological and stylist developments. 12th century, first one is arcuate and second one limestone cement usage. Monuments provide an insight into the technologies used for construction. Take something like a roof for example. We can make this by placing wooden beams or a slab of stone across 4 walls. But the task becomes difficult if we want to make a large room with an elaborate superstructure like the one shown here in the picture. This slide shows the keystone difference between true arch and cobble arch. Building temples, mosques and tanks. Temples and mosques were beautifully constructed because they were places of worship. They were also meant to demonstrate the power, wealth and devotion of the patron. The rule of a just king would be an age of plenty, making precious water available by constructing tanks and reservoirs. The king took the god's name because it was auspicious and he wanted to appear like a god. Through the rituals of worship in the temple, one god, Rajarajadeva, honored another Rajarajeshwaram. The largest temples were all constructed by kings. The other lesser deities in the temple were gods and goddesses of allies and subordinates of the ruler. The temple was a miniature model of the world ruled by the king and his allies. As they worshipped their deities together in the royal temples, it seemed as if they brought the just rule of the gods on earth. Muslim sultans and padshahs did not claim to be incarnations of God, but Persian court chronicles describe the sultan as the shadow of God. An inscription in the Kawat al-Islam mosque explained that God chose Alauddin as a king because he had the qualities of Moses and Solomon, the great lawgivers of the past. The greatest lawgiver and architect was God himself. He created the world out of chaos and introduced order and symmetry. Examples and features of some famous temples in India. KANDARIYA Mahadeva temple, constructed by the king Dangadeva of Chandela dynasty in 999. It has an ornamental gateway, main hall called the Mandapam and shrine, Garbhagraha. Inside the main shrine, only king and his family is allowed, not the commoners. Rajarajeshwara temple, constructed by Rajaraja Chola, also called Udaya Rajarajadeva at Tanjavur. dedicated to Lord Shiva or Rajarajeshwaram or Rajarajadeva, Lord of Rajaraja. Had the tallest shikhar of its time. Architects built inclined paths to the top, placed boulders or rollers and rolled it to the top. The next two slides are pictures of the temples for your reference. This is KANDARIYA Mahadeva temple and its intricate designs, architecture. Rajarajeshwara temple or Brihadishwara temple in Tanjavur, built by Rajarajadeva. Thank you. Have a nice day.